stop, stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 606 cycle. Who thought hits around?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev. This is the place in the space where we talk about all things insurance, all things business, just about the daily grind that we're all on. We take a little time to have a great conversation with a beverage in hand. This is midday, so actually I don't have any beverage in hand right now. And we just talk, we get to know incredible guests. But before I begin today's podcast, I must take a minute to thank all of you that have taken time to click and subscribe to Wine Down with Kev on the YouTube channel. You are the key to making this work. So if you haven't done that already, please click on the link below. Please like and subscribe to Wine Down with Kev so we can keep this good thing going. Also today, I'd like to shout out our first sponsor, Carol Media. Let's go, DJ Carol Media. All things digital, all things social. Let's go. If you don't know about them, you'll see their link in the bio as well. Learn about them. But here we go. Today, I am pleased in my 50 podcasts with 50 agents from 50 different states. Today, we're going to the great state of Georgia. Ray Charles said, Georgia? I'm not going to do Ray Charles. That's not me. I am going to talk to you and introduce you to a wonderful agent. This agent, Mr. John Larson III. He's won the Allstate Financial Leader Award for a couple of years. He's been a Circle of Champion. He's won honoring several times, national champion, national conference several times. He's a member of the MDRT. What you talking about, Kev? $1 Million Roundtable. You got to be special to be there. Not only is a great agent, he shows up in his community. He is a youth pastor with Abundant Life Church in Kirkwood, St. Louis. Although he's in Georgia, agency in St. Louis. He's with the Downtown St. Louis Outreach. St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer, cause near and dear to my heart. Isaac's Miracle, SSM Cardinal Glennon Children's Medical Center, the Civic Services Chamber of Commerce, Abundant Life Center, you name it. He is a face and a place in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Larson III. Let's go.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's an amazing introduction.
You are an amazing person, John. So if I didn't do you justice in the intro, tell the people something about you and yourself that I left out.
Okay, well, I need to update my bio because I'm not with Abundant Life as a youth pastor anymore. So other than that, everything else is still a go. Yeah, man, I've got 3 amazing kids that take up a lot of our time, but we love it. We're nervous about empty nesters one day, but between now and then, it's game on. We have a blast with our kids. We love to travel and do things. And my joke is I'm a free Uber to my kids. They're very busy. They're living their best life, and we're providing it for them. So
I love it. I've had that low-paying second job of Ubering around for a long time, and I'm so glad you said 3 kids, because in stalking your page, you've got one, Caitlin, who's on the dean's list. Shout out to Caitlin.
She is. Yeah, first semester in college.
And starting off the right way. And then I saw you and Jax hanging out at a football game. Shout out to Jackson.
Yeah.
Which kid don't I have any data on? I didn't see it. That's my fault. Research.
Yeah. Right. So Caden, who's my youngest, my boys are twins. They're a minute apart. Yeah, they don't look like twins. They're fraternal, but yeah, it's been a blast. We went from 1 to 3 overnight. So it was 2 against 1 at one point, and now it's 3 kids against 2 parents. So we're busy. But
I love it. Wouldn't
have it any other way.
Give me some ages. What are the ages? What's the college freshman, and how old are the twins?
So my daughter's 19. Caitlin goes to Lindenwood here in Missouri, and she's thriving. Always been a great student, thanks to her mama. That's where she gets it from. I'll back up. My wife is my high school sweetheart. Married her. This is we are on our 24th and a half year. We will celebrate 25 years in November. I look like I'm married at 10, but that's all right. So she's my ride or die, my right hand and everything. And she's amazing. And then I have my 2 boys that they're 13. They'll be 14 in March. Nice. And they're all boys. You know, we wrestle still, and they challenge me to, you know, arm wrestling or whatever we come up with. They're in football. They're in, goodness, baseball. We've done some golf. Yeah, it's a crazy world. But
well, let me warn you. Somewhere in the next 2 years, John, they're going to start taking you down.
Yeah,
right? So you got to switch from wrestling to the firm handshake and that tough love, that deep dad stare, so they know it's not.
Yeah.
But hey, faith, family, football. Did I get that in the right? And fun. Did I get those F's in the right order for you?
Yeah, pretty close. Yep.
Okay. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. What did I do wrong? Faith, family, football, fun. Clean that up for me.
You missed country.
Okay, I gotcha.
There you go.
I gotcha in that order. Okay, I missed it. My bad.
That's all right.
Let's start with the fun stuff first. The insurance stuff is easy for us. We're a couple of old vets in the game. That's easy. Man, you've been having a good time. I've been watching you at the national championship game on Monday night. You went to the Orange Bowl a couple of weeks ago.
I did.
Talk to me. Invite me and invite the audience into the arena on Monday night. National championship game, Notre Dame against Ohio State. What did that look and feel like walking into that arena?
It was a blast. I mean, full of energy. The Mercedes Dome, it was full, packed out. You know, you're shoulder to shoulder walking around, people in the hallways yelling their respective college chants. It was a good time. The attendance was the second largest in football championship history for them. So that was cool.
Okay.
Concessions were great. Allstate had a pre-game tailgate kind of deal going on. That was amazing. You know, they always feed us well, as you know, they take care of us. But yeah, so, you know, I tell everybody, when you do good things happen. You know, it comes around. And so we've worked hard. I have an amazing team that works hard, and I'm only as good because of them. And I've been fortunate to receive some of the little goodies that come from Allstate when you're doing good things. And first one was Orange Bowl. So I took my youngest twin on that one. And then we got the national championship. And so my older twin, Jax, got to go on that one. And then we're a Vikings fan. And as tragic as the LA Fires were, it moved the game over to Arizona, which tickets became available on the cheap. And so my wife and I got to go to our first Vikings playoff game, and didn't go the way we wanted, but I'm a Vikings fan. We're used to it. So it goes with the territory.
I share that pain, man. I grew up as a Vikings fan. First football game I ever saw in my life. The Vikings lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I'm dating myself. I know.
Wow. I didn't know that about you.
I kept rooting for them, and 4 Super Bowl championship disappointments later. So you Bills fans out there, I can relate. Now I'm just a football fan. New York doesn't. Well, Buffalo is a real New York team, and they're playing a championship this weekend. But Vikings fan, I can relate, and I know that comes from your dad. So all the best with that. Hey, DJ, what's up? I'm in the middle of recording the podcast.
I know, man.
Yeah. So, this guy, we want to talk about something different. He's trying to get his website and his Google My Business page going.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows you helped me to get to the 2 Comma Club, and be seen by a couple of million people. But this person wants to do something different. They're trying to run ads to their book of business, their model line campaigns and stuff like that.
I know, Kev.
Oh, man. Well, DJ, talk to the people, man, so I can get back to the podcast. How can you help?
Yeah, man. So listen, I can help you by running monoline ads to your auto, your home, as well as optimizing your website, your Google business profile, and your social media outlets. We can do the exact same thing we've done for Kevin over the years and get you in front of millions of sets of eyeballs to help you grow your business. Contact Carroll Media today. Kev, let them know.
DJ, I appreciate you jumping in the podcast. Hit up Carol Media. DJ, I gotta go. I gotta get back to the podcast.
I know.
So, John, I want to jump in to insurance, but football story, personal story for you. You shared with me today we needed to bump this podcast up an hour early because a friend and a football coach, I would guess to your twins, you recently lost. So I don't want to talk about insurance without giving you an opportunity to give him his flowers and let the people listening to this podcast, watching on a live stream, learn about this wonderful person.
Yeah. So Coach Tom Schulin, and he was a part of the football program here for a few years. My boys, fortunate to join the team. It's the feeder team, the junior team that feeds the junior high, and then ultimately the varsity for the high school here. Caden played 4 years with him, so he started year one. Caden's my more beefier of the twins, and so he's built for football. And then Jax decided he wanted to, and so Jax has been on the team for 3 years. And over that period, Tom is just an amazing coach, man. Loved the boys. He pushed them like a dad would push them, but that's what you want. You know, I push my boys to be their best. I constantly tell them no one's coming to save you. It's up to you to create your own path and work hard. And when you work hard, trust God and believe in yourself, good things will happen. So it was nice to have a coach that also pushed those same things with my boys. So they're getting another voice in their life that of someone they respect, a strong male figure to push them to take care of the little things, what leads to the big things, right? And that's showing up to practice on time, actually early. They'd get penalized if they weren't there at least 10 minutes early. So by the time practice started, everything, their cleats, all that had to be on and ready to go. And then stay after, right? Put in the work until it's done. So rather, you know, if practice ended at 6:30, it doesn't matter. It might be 6:45, 7 o'clock before they finish, because you put the work in and you make sure the work gets done, no matter what time it is. But he pushed them hard, and there was a reason, because it led to them winning, and they won. Yes. They, in their 4 years, they went 4 times to the Super Bowl, and they won 3. Wow. And I think we only had over that career either 4 or 6 losses over 4 years. And so just an amazing example of what hard work can do and can lead to and put your mind to. And he's taught them to be respectful to each other, to leadership. So just all the values that me as a dad wants to put into my kids, he was doing it, at that level. And it's terrible. It's terrible. The impact he had, they're expecting upwards of 300 to 400 people at his funeral today, at the viewing. The funeral's tomorrow. And it's just a testament to who he was and how many lives he impacted. And one of his big sayings was, get on the ball. He constantly was like, get on the ball, get on the ball.
Yes.
So I'm wearing a bracelet. Red is his favorite color. These will get handed. I got the first one. They'll be handed out today, but it says, get on the ball, Coach Tom. And then I was fortunate about 3 years ago. I'm always screaming in the stands, and trying to pump up the boys. And so one day they asked me to be the announcer for the games. And so I got on the PA, and I got to do the music and all that kind of stuff, and my own mixed stuff. And I had nicknames for all the boys, and I had a blast with it. I mean, if anybody knows me, I'm crazy. And if you give me something, I'm going to go crazy with it. But the funny thing is this is my reward this year.
Let's go. The gold mic.
They gave me the golden microphone for announcing for the team. And, I had so much fun with Tom too, because, I would call him Tornado Tom, and he looked back from the sidelines and just shake his head at me and laugh. And I'm going to miss him. He was 46 years old, 5 kids, gone way too soon. I believe he went peaceful. He went to sleep and didn't wake up. I don't know, hopefully there wasn't anything tragic that happened, but he was found that he'd already passed. And it's just terrible. It's been terrible on the boys, but like a true team, they're rallying together. They're going to show up in their uniforms at the funeral and follow behind the casket like they did every game following him. And so it'll be a tough couple of days watching that, but they're resilient, and we're just fortunate to have Tom in our lives for the short time that we got him.
John, thank you. John, thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. On every level, what you just said there is going to resonate and connect more with people, perhaps more than anything else we talk about. As a sports dad, more basketball dad, like you said about your twins. My youngest guy, I started him in basketball. That's my first love in sports. But his body became a football potty, so he went into football. But just the love of all those coaches in every community across the country that volunteer their time to pour into our kids. And they're saying the words to them that we would say to them, but they're speaking from the perspective of a coach. I've always loved the process. I've always loved the process that coaches that were able to mentor and get more kids out of them that physically I definitely couldn't and wouldn't push them that hard. But
Right.
It's very much like the business. And as business owners, we mentor and lead our staff. The coaches mentoring and leading the kids on the field. So let's pivot to business. And again, thank you, Coach Tom. Get on the ball. I wrote down your words. I think a lot of people are, because I think that's not only a push on the field, it's a push in business as well.
Right.
So, John, let me pivot quickly and ask you, what do you love about being an Allstate agent, part one? And two, you live in St. Louis, Missouri area, but you run an agency in Waycross, Georgia. Now, that sounds like something that my relatives in South Carolina or North Carolina would say.
Yeah.
How close are? Well, it's Waycross, Georgia. We right there. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Tom. Tell me a little bit about, first, let's start with Waycross, Georgia. Position me geographically. Where are we in Georgia? I've been to Atlanta 4 or 5 times, maybe 10 times in the last 2 years. But where's Waycross, Georgia?
So there's 2 agencies. Waycross is south, almost to the Florida border.
Okay.
So when I go to that agency, I literally fly into Jacksonville and then drive north. It's quicker. So it's way south. And then the other agency in Woodstock is just north of Atlanta, 35 to 45 minutes from the airport, depending on traffic. Well, it could be 3 hours, depending on traffic. But as long as there's no issues. Yeah, so, I'm kind of middle of the state and south in the state and growing. It's been fantastic, to be honest with you. I had 3 agencies in Missouri at one time, and I got to a point where I just felt like I was maxed out. Between Kansas, Missouri is about 6 million people.
Okay.
And of course, Georgia has 12 on its own. And I'm fortunate one of my agencies has a license in North Carolina, so I picked up that. And so, I'm like triple, quadruple the amount of people that we have an opportunity with. So that made a lot more sense to be in Georgia. But I couldn't live. This is my home. My second home, I was born and raised in California. My dad was an Allstate agent, 36 years.
Nice.
It's how I came to Allstate. So I am an Allstate brat. But we moved when Caitlin was born. She was 1 year old, and my wife and I, she'd had a bad day. At the time, I was an FSL. I did it for about 6 months. Hated it. But we both had a bad day, and we're sitting there, and I'll never forget, we were Chinese food. My daughter had some noodles in front of her. She had a little ketchup on it. It was all over her face. We had to take her shirt off, so there's noodles on her. She's 1 year old, and it's real quiet, and we're miserable. My wife, had her career, but she really wanted to be home with her baby. And we lived in California, which the cost to do that was expensive. And didn't know how we're going to do that. And so I said, let's move. And she's like, you won't move. You'll move. Our families are here. I said, honestly, let's think about it. And what had led to that was we had just come from visiting Chesterfield, Missouri, that area. My oldest sister lived here. And so we just kind of liked the area. So literally, I'm not kidding. I get up, I get a piece of paper, I put it in front of her, I put one in front of me, and I said, write down 3 places you'd like to live.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So we wrote down 3. Now, we landed on St. Louis together was one of us, where both of us had it. I don't know what I'd have done if we'd had 3 separate. I don't. But that was divine intervention. And so that's how we started. And so I flew out here. I met with a field sales leader. I visited several agencies, purchased my first one, and then purchased a few more over the years, organically grew it. and just got to a point where it was getting harder to purchase and merge at that time. I think it was easier the last few years. And so I was getting frustrated, and I actually was considering going independent. But you understand, I've been with Allstate. This is my 29th year.
Nice.
And so being an Allstate brat, and it just, their learning curve and the cost to buy, an agency and all of that is just, it's way different. And I had a couple of friends, Eddie Pacheco, Jason Park, that reeled me back in. And it's like, dude, you're Allstate now, and you just have to figure it out. And so I was at a conference, and Suhas Opapati was an agent in Georgia and said, I'm thinking about going. And I said, I want it. Next thing I know, I'm Georgia. And now we follow Georgia Bulldogs. Go Dogs. So,
John,
no Atlanta. I will not follow Atlanta. I'm still a Vikings fan. But it's been good, man. I would tell you one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given came from a client here in Missouri that I had, who was the vice president of Monsanto. So he oversaw 55,000 people. Okay. That's who rolled up to him. So almost a mayor, right, of a town. And once a year, I'd meet with him, go over his policies and talk about his coverages. And about the second or maybe third year I met with him, I just got a poke in my gut. And I said, Mike, because at the end of the conversation, he said, thanks, John. I appreciate you always meet with me offsite. He would always go to lunch. He said, what can I do for you? I said, you know what, Mike? Give me advice.
Wow.
I said, there's few people that live in your world or have been experienced the success that you've had. What's like, just pour advice into me, like I'm a son, right? So we developed kind of this relationship of a kind of a dad and son thing a little bit. And he would always, every time I met with him, we'd go through the insurance, and then we'd spend twice as much time talking about life in general. And one of the things he said to me is John, never forget you're only as good as your people.
I love it. So I'm going to jump in for a second, only because you said something there that I don't want anyone to lose or in this conversation. Hey, Ray, what's up? I'm in the middle of shooting a podcast here.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. I'm talking to a couple of my guys. They're struggling with all this new stuff, man. It's taking them 20, 30 minutes to fill out a quote sheet.
That's way too long, man. I think we can help.
You sure, man? They're trying to do different stuff. They're trying to do like X-Day campaigns. They're cross-selling. They want to follow with people they meet at networking events.
Yeah, well, Canopy Connect, you just send them a link. What is that? You can text it to them. You can put it on your business card as a QR code, scan that up, and all they have to do is click on that link, find their carrier, their insurance carrier, and sign into it. And we're going to go in and grab all the information you need to get a quote, all their policy information, their deck pages, drivers, vehicles, and enrich that with property data. We get all that stuff, right? So you don't have to spend 30 minutes on the call. It's all easy.
Well, shut the front door. Enough said. Guys, you heard it right here. Stop going old school. Use Canopy Connect. Thanks, Ray. I got to get back to the podcast.
Got it. See you.
You met someone and he offered you, what can I do for you? Right? And the easy thing would be, I don't know, $20. But instead of asking for the $20 or the material thing, you asked for advice and you built a relationship. I would say that's kind of wisdom of Solomon-like. So again, talk to me about this advice, because I want people to, I do these podcasts so people can learn. So talk about that.
So it's ring true. Nothing's more truer in my current situation than his piece of advice, because I listened to him. Thank God I listened to him. And I started recruiting people. I was fortunate. My sister-in-law, Brooke, has been with me a long time. Been with insurance forever. She is loyal. She's amazing. She's been my right hand. And so I started over those years building quality staff and a quality team, and really developing. It led to me developing culture and developing trust. And I took that into Georgia, because how do you live in Missouri and operate a business in Georgia? Right.
You are stealing my next question. That's what people want to know. They want the tools you use every day in order to make that work. So what does a day look like for you being physically home with your family in Missouri? How are you leading and managing this team in Georgia?
Yeah. And so it starts with the people. I have amazing leadership on the ground there. I have an operations manager, Kayla, who is next level. So, Brooke lives here in Missouri as well. I have a small, we both have home offices, but then I have a small offsite office that we can go to and kind of isolate ourselves from, I've got a pug that wants my attention. There's honeydew projects I'm looking at every day at the house, right? A pantry that loves my belly. So I have this little small offsite place that we can go to. And I was telling a buddy of mine this week about it. I've got the standing desks, the ones that stand up, and I've got 2 monitors, but across from us, I have 4 55-inch TVs. And I should have went there today because I could have shown you. But on those screens, I've got my agency Zoom that's giving me everything that's going on. I got my Ricochet that's going everything on. I got my Ring Central. I can see everything across the room from you in huge screens, right? And so it's kind of my little second headquarters. And then, of course, Zoom has been invaluable for us to keep that connection. But yeah, I manage processes. I don't manage the people. We manage the processes and the standards in the office, and we get involved if they're falling off of those. That's where it comes down to. The culture we have. I'll tell you, this will encapsulate my culture the best. I had 4 strong salespeople there, and 3 of them are having a really good month. We have a group text going so everybody can see it, Messenger. And my service team says, hey, I've got a guy on the line that wants to bring his autos over. And salespeople, what do? I want it, right? One of mine says, hey, give that to Dustin. He's not quite doing as well as the rest of us, So instead of, I want those 3 autos, money in my pocket, he's seeing, hey, the 3 of us are doing amazing. Dustin's lagging. Let's give it to Dustin so he can come up with us.
So you have a culture of teamwork. So let's pivot a little bit. You and I can talk in agency business stuff until the wheels come off. I like to do this not only for us as agents, but for consumers listening to the call as well. There's some people in Georgia right now that are listening that would love to come to work with you. So talk to me about, is it hard for someone that's not in the business, that doesn't have any insurance experience? Is it hard for someone to get licensed and get into the insurance business in the state of Georgia? No,
it's easy. It's really not difficult at all. It involves, doing a little bit of study, which if you're coming to me unlicensed, we're going to have an interview. We like you. We have all the links and setup that you need to do, walk you through it, instructions. It's literally online training. You do it at your leisure. And if you follow it, they have like an 88% success rate. And that's all it takes is you learn it online, you schedule your test, you go take your test. And it's not difficult. If you follow the only people I've ever seen fail are the ones that try to breeze through it or try to take shortcuts, right? Life lesson. It happens to all of us everywhere we do that.
Yes.
I don't know how many times I try to take a shortcut driving and my wife's like, that was longer, right? It's longer to get there. But yeah, so as long as they don't take the shortcuts, literally a couple of weeks of their time and they can be licensed. And the beauty of it is they don't have to quit their current jobs or what they're doing. They can study at night and learn it and then set the test and go. And so there's a comfort in that, knowing that, well, worst case scenario, if I blow it, it's not like I'm unemployed, trying to find a job or trying to find how to pay my bills.
You still stay in there. So, John, one of the reasons why I wanted to podcast with 50 agents from 50 different states is I love talking about the unique geography of each local area.
Yeah.
So I've been across the state of Missouri a couple of times. I've been down from Branson in the south all the way up to Kansas City in the north. That's one geography. That's Midwest geography. And we know the tornadoes and things that come there.
Yeah.
And St. Louis obviously being in the middle, somewhere in the center of the state. But now you're in Georgia. You're way across Georgia. You're close to the Florida border, which probably brings more storms. And then you're north near Atlanta. Talk to me about way across Georgia. And then what are some of the natural disasters that come to that area and why it's important that people have a local agent?
Yeah. So Waycross is interesting because unfortunately they've been hit with 2 terrible things recently. One was a hurricane came in. and it really wiped out the town. And so there's been a lot of work down there, getting people restored, getting their lives back in order, and it's still not there. I mean, there's still a lot of cleanup and things going on. And then this week they had the agent I purchased the book from he's lived his whole life there, and he's, I think, my same age, maybe a little older, so under 50. And it's only the third time it's ever happened in his life, but they got snow, and they got 5 inches this week.
Yes.
So they got snow on top of sand. So
Yes.
I'm like, you got palm trees and snowflakes, which is
Yes.
really interesting, right? So they're living all sorts of new weather patterns right now. But it's a blue collar town. It's strong, and they're resilient, and it's watching strangers help strangers, and pulling out tractors to help move trees, in neighborhoods miles away from their house. I mean, it's been amazing to see that community come together. It really has. I'm new to that community, and so we haven't had the penetration or been able to do a lot yet. We're working on that. I'm still building teams down there, so I'd like to be a bigger footprint there, and a bigger positive influence in the community. We'll get there, but that's what's going down.
I love it. I love the description. St. Louis, Midwest, snow is second nature. 5 inches. 5 inches means that school is open, work is open. Don't plan on missing anything. I have friends in Georgia. Shout out to Jay Riley. He shared the video of like 1 inch coming down. He said, just like that, Atlanta is shut down.
Shut down.
It's over. Nothing's going to happen today. Stay home. And all of our friends that we have in common in Louisiana, Texas, they're all going through this as we speak right now. So I love something that you said. So you're new to the Waycross community. You're going to build your presence there. You've been around for a long time, 29 years. You're right up there with me. 29, 30 years ago, your approach to getting a bigger footprint in the area would be one thing. As you look at it now, how much will digital marketing and building a digital footprint in the area, how much will that mean to you and your agency? And what are some of the things you're thinking about to make people aware that you're here and you have an awesome team that can help?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, we've just 6 years ago, how we market and interact with communities is completely 180. It's changed, right? I think going through COVID changed everything. We used to get, even in local communities, small communities like that, it's a very small community, very well knit community. You still have walk-ins and people dropping off payments and stuff like that. But COVID slowed a lot of that stuff down. It's more, phone and emails and text and that kind of thing. So it's interesting. Social media plays a big part with us. I'm not near as good as you, but I strive to be there.
You're good.
That's what we're working on this. So my main mission this year, and what my focus is this year, is I always have one main focus that I really try to plow on, and that's social media this year, is really getting our presence strong there. And then honestly, I still believe in the good book and taking care of people. It reciprocates. And so how can we find events and things going on in the community that we can get behind, first responders, things like that. So first responders has always been big for me. I have a heart for them. I think what they do day in and day out is amazing, and they get paid very little to do that.
Yes.
I think about some of the things that they deal with. I wouldn't deal with. I couldn't do it.
No, I like to say first responders. I have a new client, walked in my office, just retired as a fire chief, right?
Yeah.
And the way I talk to first responders, I said, you're a first responder. When there's a fire, he's in Brooklyn, New York, you guys run into it. We run from it. We're second responders. We come and put lives back together after things have fallen apart. So go ahead, continue. But I love your thought process of approaching a new community. This is very, very relatable. So you're looking for ways to build your community blueprint. Please continue.
Yeah. So just, penetrating the community and partnering with different businesses in the area that, we can get behind, whether we show up and help, physically do things or monetarily come behind. We try to find charities that we can get behind as an agency and support them. And then, that turns into promotions in the office where I challenge my team, and part of the proceeds go back to, the charities that we pick and choose to support. I think the big thing for my employees is to have a why bigger than just earning a paycheck.
Yes.
And so when you have a heartbeat for people and taking care of people, and that's our culture, they look out for each other, they look out for clients. It breeds success. And when that success happens, it fuels what you're doing for people. And so you do more, and then you get more success, which fuels. So it's just, you've got this big snowball, pun intended, because there's full of snow out here. You got a snowball effect, but it's a positive snowball, right? And so you just keep feeding the flames and the fire, and I make sure that my team's a part of things, and they see things, and they're knowledgeable of how we're impacting and where we're impacting. So they feel good about what they do, right? It's more than just writing policies, hitting VC numbers, hitting commission. It is, we translate that into our community.
You feel better, you do better. So way off topic.
Yep.
Andrew Filler told me to ask you about your Meta glasses. Meta glasses.
Oh.
See the ads. I know nothing about it. So
Yeah.
Talk to me, brother. Educate me about Meta glasses. What are you doing with Meta glasses?
So I'm gonna respond to that with my favorite nickname, which he hates. And so, hello, Andy. This is for you, Andy. Yeah. So he'd asked me for an address, and I was driving, but my wife bought me these cool, the Meta Ray-Bans, and they're amazing because, I can hear music no one else can hear. I can hear my messages. I look cool with some cool shades. I could tell it, take a picture of whatever I'm looking at, and it'll take a picture. I could pick up an object and say, tell me about this, or where was this made, or what's the ingredients, or is this good for me? And it'll tell me. So they're really cool. How it was birthed, why my wife bought them, is I would have Apple Play on in my car. And so when messages come through, which I get pinged all day, it's my team. I run everything from my phone, everything. And so she got so tired of, message from Kayla, what's this message from Brooke? So she bought me these glasses, and now she can relax in the car because she can't hear them. I can hear the messages, and they automatically come through, and I have to pick. So I love it. But anyways, he was giving me a bad time because he's like, your eyes are going to get scanned. You're letting them, So he was calling me a nerd. But at the end of the day, they've been amazing. I highly recommend them. So there, Andy.
Well, no shame in being a nerd. After 38 years of marriage, I just admitted to my wife maybe a couple of months ago, maybe, that I'm a nerd. I love doing nerdy, geeky things. Yeah. I'm out here trying to lead this digital revolution, but man, you are out there using the Meta glasses. Tell me this, if I had Meta glasses on and I run into you on one of our conferences or trips and I look at you and names escape me as they do, will it look at you? Can I say, tell me who that is? John Larson, you met him on the pod. Can it do that?
I've not tried that, but I will. I'll try that.
Oh my God.
It'll give me directions. It's cool. It's like talking to your phone, but it's, you're getting in your ear where it's not out loud where people can hear. And I'll be hanging out somewhere and have music lightly playing and no one knows. So I love noise around me. I hate it when it's quiet. So it works out really well.
Silence is deadly.
Yeah.
John, you're one of the best conversations I've had. You're very unconventional. So I want to ask you something that's not on my question list.
Yeah.
Making the move that you and your wife made from California to Missouri, and your process for doing that. I've been there. I've made the move from New York to Chicago and back. And the way the second major decision that you made, to me, that's a little different from everyone listening, business owner, insurance space, everyday people, doesn't matter. The decision to shut down shop in St. Louis and to fish in a bigger blue ocean. How important is your faith in making those business decisions? Where does that confidence come from? I can walk away from California sunshine. I can walk away from consistent pattern of success I'm having in Missouri, and I can be someplace else, and I can fish in a bigger, bluer ocean. How important is your faith in that business decision?
It's number one. So I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me, right? I've always said, and I'll say to the day I die, God is my silent partner. Now, I should be more vocal. It sounds weird now when I say it, that I say he's silent, because I will share it with anybody. But that's been my rock, is my faith in prayer and I don't do anything without praying hard. I have a situation now. I'm trying to close on a book, and it shouldn't happen. I'm well within 12 months of the purchase thing, but I put it out there, and I wrote IJN on the contract that I sent in, which is in Jesus' name.
Yes.
And my field sales leader called me. He said, "You're not gonna believe this, but it's approved." And I said, "I believe it." And he says, he goes, "Let me tell you, John Larson," he said, "you have favor with the Father." Because he said, there's a lot of reasons why it shouldn't. He says, one of the smoothest contracts I've did, it came right back. And he said, and I said, "I'll tell you what," and my field sales leader, Steve Sherrod, is also a pastor. So it's amazing to have a leader I can go to that shares faith like that. But he said, when it's right, the doors fly open. When it's wrong, the doors shut. And as humans, sometimes we just try to push through the closed doors. And that's when we get in trouble, right? So
yes.
I'm at the point now where I put it out there. My first thing was, God, if it's wrong, shut it, the door, and shut it hard, like in my face. John, don't even come to us, right? And the second thing was my wife. Brandy, I'm thinking about this, I'm doing this, and she's always been one like, I trust you. You've always provided. I get it. I understand. And she's my biggest fan. So having that, when you're aligned with God and you align with your partner, there's nothing that stops you, man. That's my confidence level is like, I don't fear it. Right. I don't. Do I get stressed? Absolutely. Do I have bad days? Sure. But the good days far outweigh the bad days. And it all goes back to alignment in your life, in your faith, in your family, and taking care of people. And my team knows I'll do anything for them. And all of that comes through and it reciprocates,
John, every word you say is triggering a gospel song in my mind, and I can't sing. So I can't just, in the middle of a podcast, start singing gospel songs. So, John, let me ask you this. You acknowledge God as your silent partner. How important has your spouse been in the journey? You said it a little bit, but I want to give you a chance to give her more flowers and talking about what it's like to say to someone, because I've had this conversation. I know exactly what you mean. Like, the next opportunity is not here in New York. Would you, literal question, people. I asked my wife, would you leave New York with me to go to Chicago? Because I can move up by like 10 grand, 1991. I can go from 30,000 a year to 40,000 a year, which doesn't sound like a lot today, but it was game changing for the Span family in 1991. And she trooped the bid with me. So what does that mean to you?
So Brandy, my wife, is my high school sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
This will be 25 years married, but we've been together another 8. So, we're 30 years. We raised each other, honestly.
Yes.
And she knows immediately how I feel or when I'm feeling that something's wrong, something's up, something's down. But it's open communication. So it wasn't like this was a surprise. She knew along the way of things that were getting in my way I was frustrated with. And, all the pillow talk, right? Sitting at night, watching the fan roll around and what's wrong? Well, this bothers me. Like, why? And so she's always been an integral part of it. And in fact, like this bracelet, right? She did this for Coach Tom. And she had shirts made for all the parents. So, we can all display him and the kids. So the back of it has Coach Tom coaching from the back, and then it has his sayings on the front of the t-shirts. So all the families, the parents and the kids can continue wearing that, honoring him. She's amazing person for like marketing and just creativity off the hook. And so, every year I do a theme for my agency. This year is Mission I'm Possible.
Nice. I'm possible. I get it.
So if you saw the pictures, I handed out t-shirts to all my team, and she had them done. She went and got the shirt. She put the logos on them. She went to Amazon and ordered like spy stuff. And so they got this nice little gift thing that's along the lines of Mission Impossible, the movie, but we're using it inside the agency. So that having a partner like that, it not only aligns with you and supports you, and is at the end of your day, good or bad day, that's the one person that's there, and is always there. She's I always joke with her. I said, look, you said yes, right? I asked you.
Yes.
And you said yes. So That's my joke with her. But, to this day, I have all my dad jokes and my stupid things that I do. And I will be crazy if I can make people laugh. I love to make people laugh. And she's still the one there. That's the biggest laugh in the room. She's heard my jokes a million times, still laughs at them. I still can look over and we'll be somewhere and I look at her, she looks at me and we know what each other's thinking. So when it came down to this, she knows me and knows how hard I'll pursue stuff, and she trusts that, and I trust her, and it's a good team.
It doesn't get any better than that. Second to last question.
Yep.
When you deliver, you kind of live your life very similar to mine. On a scale of 1 to 10, you live at about a 5. Doesn't matter how excited, you're not going to go there, and you're not going to be down. You're not going to drag the room. No matter how easily you deliver all this information, we're in a stressful business. Doing this business, large agency, out of state, by multiple locations, not easy.
Yeah.
How do you decompress from the stress?
So I lost my best friend last year. It was my dad, who was an insurance agent for years, right? But he courageously fought cancer for 5 years, and we lost him on March 3rd of last year. He was always my sounding board, and I still hear that voice, right? And he mentored me. He was the best man at my wedding. I had nine or 10 groomsmen. I want to give him that honor. So my dad he's always been there. And everything over the career that has gone good or bad, I've shared it with him. Even today, I when that happened with the purchase, I wanted to call him. I couldn't call him.
Yeah.
So first off, it was having that sounding board in my dad, but I still have it in my heart, and I think about, what would dad tell me? The best piece of advice my dad that one of them, he gave me tons of one-liners actually. But the one time he told me, he said, look, son, he said, Allstate's a roller coaster and you're going to get on this ride. And sometimes you're screaming and laughing. Sometimes it's a barrel. Sometimes you want to puke. Sometimes you just want off the ride. Sometimes you're frustrated. Sometimes you're upside down. Sometimes you're right side up. Sometimes it's a slow climb. Sometimes it's a fast fall. So he said, at the end of the day, if you're not ready to get off the ride, enjoy it. Figure out, you just know that different part of the track is just around the corner. Stick with it. Don't jump off the ride. If you jump off the ride, you're dead. So unless you're ready to get off the ride when the instructor, stops it, try to enjoy the ride. And so that was early on in my career. And as things would pop up, he'd be so funny because I'd be like, Dad, you won't believe what's going on now. Now, the first thing I would caution any agent is don't do it in front of your staff.
Okay.
Never, ever show your cards in front of your staff.
Yeah.
We all get frustrated. They don't need to know that. That is your battle as the leader to figure out what needs to happen in your agency, how to fix it. But don't alienate them against your carrier. That's the worst thing you can do. So I learned that from him, by the way. So when things would happen, I'd read it. I'd simply just go and I'm like, hey, I'm going to run an errand. My team had no idea the information I was just dealt, and I'm trying to figure out. Sometimes it's impactful. You're going to lose 10% of your income. What?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to do that.
Yes.
And I'd get in the car and I'd call him, and he'd let me vent, right? And he'd say, "Are you getting off the coaster?" "No, Dad, I'm not. I'm not, Dad." So it was a good analogy for me to always remember that no matter what's going on, there's a better part of the track coming. And until you're ready to jump off the ride and do something else, change rides, stick with it, And then there's a lot of prayer, and a lot of goes back to faith. Like, God, I know you're going to see me through. Give me the wisdom and the understanding. Tell me, put the right people in front of me. I have an amazing group of soundboarding agents that I go to, Jeremy Olson, Andy, right? That are smart people, smarter than me. And so when Allstate we get state changes, we get federal changes, we get all state changes, right? Our industry is crazy. So as that starts happening, I seek them. I seek their advice because they're smart and they jump on this stuff. And, Eddie Pacheco has been huge for me. Those are 3 pillars I go to constantly. Jason Park, So at the end of the day, those are guys that are also strong mentors of mine. So between that, going to God in prayer, listening to my dad's voice in my heart, and then going to the current agents that are really smart agents, you find your way, and you just grip the handlebars and wait for the next part of the track.
John, I said, when I asked this question, I said second to last question, and a good person would end it there because that answer is so doggone phenomenal. I could stop, but I can't. Last question. Anything you wanted to share with the people related to insurance? Anything that I failed to ask you that you want to share before we wrap it up? I know that you have a wake to get to, so I want to honor your time. But is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
The biggest thing, and it's kind of been on my heart this year, is don't take life as serious as we take it sometimes. It's not going to end. The world's not falling. Try to find the good in every situation, but mainly love people, love hard, be kind. We all have a short life. What I've seen with Tom is he had such a positive impact in a short amount of time. And so now I'm motivated to do the same. And, you can have a business that earn you a lot of money, and you can buy a lot of things and toys and cars, and you can chase everything out there, but it'll never fulfill you as much as when you genuinely, for no other reason, to just do it, to take care of people. There's no better satisfaction. That's how we're built. And so just learn to put your time and effort into people. And, the Bible talks about going to the widows and the lowly of those, right? And I'm seeing this because with Tom's passing, another dad came to me and he said, I think about Jill, and when things come up, like trouble with her car or plumbing or electrician or things like that, does she have somebody? Does she know how to do that? But he's like, John, everybody on the football team, all of our dads, he's like, you could help her with her insurance. I could help her with medical stuff.
Yes.
There's another guy could help her with her plumbing. He said, we should organize a list to help. I said, that's brilliant. But that's the things that we should be doing as humans, is looking out for others on where we can help them. Just help them for no reason, no gain, does nothing for you outside of it's the right thing to do. So that is what I hope people, get from this and are inspired, because it's game on for me this year. I will impact more lives this year than I have in a while. I will love harder this year than I have in a while. I will give myself as much as I can to people, as more than I ever have in my life. It is game on this year. That's 25, and I'm going to thrive. I
love it. I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, John Larson III, Allstate agent extraordinaire, but so much more than that. Absolutely, truly an incredible person. I hope you enjoyed listening to this, viewing this content as much as I did. If you liked what you saw, please click and subscribe to Wine Down with Kev so you can receive all of the notifications. But more importantly, find John on social media everywhere he is at. Follow him. See if he's giving out more of these words of wisdom. And if he says nothing, if all he shares is great pictures with him and his twins or his daughter at a football game, and that makes your day a little bit better, help him to fill his mission of impacting more lives, loving harder, being more present. Ladies and gentlemen, John Larson III.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It's a big honor to talk to you. It really is.